oh, about Sunday. Am I taking up too much time, Pastor? He's going to give you so many visions. Yeah. You go here. You go here. How long you been here? 6 months. Okay. All right. What else you did? You just go and children's ministry. Okay. And whatever else you can. Okay. Do you evangelize? What else? Okay. You ain't lots of property now. Okay. You fit it.
I'm new.
All right. Be new. Be new. And I'm going to tell you, because Pastor, can I say this? You're going to be one of the greatest draws for the people that you're connected to. And the people, so cool. I don't know if you got an assistant or not. I don't know if you got on that. But this is somebody that needs to stay close because of the anointing that's on your life. The devil tries to seek you out in your midnight hour, in your dreams. I know. And it's hard for you to sleep and all of that. I get it. But he's trying to disturb what God has already birthed inside of you. And I dare somebody say, grow. Come on, person, give me a hand. Grow. Lay hands on the stomach. Grow. Somebody shout, grow. You don't have to help her. Grow. Because there's more for you. God bless you. God never holds down. Heal everywhere.
Good morning. Hey y'all. I think I probably need to cut this video off. It's early. Right now it is I want to say like probably 4:45 now, cause I'm thinking I got up like 4:30 this morning, and yesterday was Sunday. Today is Monday morning. So happy start to your work week if your week starts on a Monday. And yes, I'm in the bed. I have my gown on. My voice sounds raspy because I literally just woke up, went to the restroom, brushed my teeth, and did all that stuff. And then I came back and got in the bed just because God woke me up. And now I'm starting to think from what I got yesterday from church, a little bit of it might be the devil fighting my relationship that I have with God. I'm not sure, but I know anytime that does happen, I'm getting up and I'm talking about God. So even if it is the devil, I do not accept that. I have no interest in it. I don't want to do nothing but what God has ordained me to do. Okay, so I put in a recording of what happened yesterday at my first church service where I went up and this prophet kind of prayed over me. And y'all, when I say he hit everything on the nail about what I do and me as a person and God's plans and even my church, he even and I'm gonna post it. Oh no. I told y'all every time I talk about where I'm placed at, I get emotional every time I talk about my church because God knew that's where I needed to be. That's where my soil was at. And that's where my seed needed to be planted in order for me to grow. And that's not even what I came on here to talk about. It wasn't about the church. That's not what I was going to talk about something else, but now it's shifted to that. But literally, that's my soil. Is there. And my seed had to be planted in that soil in order for me to grow and get where I knew God needed me to get. And I should have got Kleenex. I didn't know I was going to be crying. I bet y'all like, girl. And I have Kleenex in my garage. I just never get Kleenex because I've never been a crier like this. I've always had this tough exterior where I don't cry, and really don't show a lot of emotions, but where I'm at now in my life is just, I don't know, I cry a lot of tears of joy. I do still cry when things are on my mind. I will get up and get a napkin, but I mean a Kleenex or tissue or something. But I'm not here for pausing y'all. But yeah, I feel like my church is literally was the soil that I needed to get me where I needed to be spiritually, and I'm going to make sure I did. We always go live at church, and sometimes we stop when it gets to the prayer part, but they were still recording. And literally, I was close to the last person. I was going to get in line, and the short way where I would have been one of the first people, but I ended up just letting other people go, so I ended up going the other way around. So I was one of the last people, and I knew he had something to say to me. I could literally feel it. Even while he was preaching, um, God, just thank you. I just give God all the glory for everything that's the transformation in my life and over my life. I just give God all of the glory and all of it. And I'm here for it. Is it difficult? Yes. Because when things look a type of way that you've never experienced, it is hard. Like, and that's what I want people to know. I have a lot of joy, but this journey is difficult because it's unknown to me. I have never in my life, and I'm 45, I'll be 46 next year. I have never in my life experienced this, not even as a little girl going to church. And I've never experienced this, so it's all so new to me. But walking down a journey that you have no idea what's next, or what is it going to look like, or what are you going to do that you typically would not do, I don't know. So it's different for me, it's different for people who love me, but this should have always been me. um and it definitely wasn't. And I do think, had my grandmother um lived a little bit longer, um, things probably would have been different for me as a kid. I probably would have been really faithful, and I don't know where I would be right now. I probably would have literally went to school for just spirituality and Bible, for the Bible and all of that. Like, I would have did studies of this. Like, I know I would have, just because I would have had a little bit more knowledge. But it was kind of like I was just going to church just to go because that's what you do. And then I always do this, but I had an aunt that recently passed away, and I didn't really know her. Um but my Aunt May Ruth, which was my grandmother's sister, and they're talking about her, and everybody has all of these great things to say about how she was just so into God, and God was her life, God was her everything. And she's just saying, they're just saying all of this stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was somebody in my family that was just like that strong with God. And they literally said it, everything that she did was of God. And that's kind of where I'm at in my life. Like, no, I don't want just to be at church every day, all day, doing nothing but church. But everything that I do in my life, I want God to be a part of it. I don't want to be out at no clubs. I don't want to be turning up with people. Like, I don't have any interest in that. Um, but you can drink a glass of wine and stuff like that, but I choose not to. I'm not a drinker. So for me to say I just don't want to drink is not a big deal. If I want to have one glass of wine or something, I will, but it's not of interest to me. um but she just showed me, like, dang, like how she feels is how I feel, like her. And they even said her husband, he passed away before her, but he was also the same way. And I've said before, that's kind of what I desire. I desire for me and my spouse to just go out here and tackle the devil, like do work for God. That's just what I desire. But now I'm just gonna go back to what I was about to say. So we're standing there, and one of my I won't even know. I would say she's a spiritual mentor. She's like a church mother to me. She's a sister. She's a friend. She's all of this to me. Like she wasn't standing by me originally. It was just me and one of my other sisters in front of me, and my mom was behind me. And as he got closer to me, I'm like in my head, and I'm like, oh gosh, what is he gonna say? What is he gonna say? Because I have so many things going on right now. And I knew he was gonna say something to me because I could feel it just by the way he was when he was preaching. The stuff that he was saying really resonated with me. It did. And a lot of stuff that he was saying, my pastor had already said the exact same things. So for this man to say it, it was baffling. Like, it was crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because my pastor actually called me when my pastor actually called me before I joined the church, and I was just visiting, and just basically letting me know I was definitely a part of his vision, and we kind of cried together. And I just told him that I knew God placed me somewhere. Like, I knew not God placed me somewhere. Wherever God wanted me to go, it was for me to do work of God. And he let it be known. And I went to this massive church before, and I remember when I was there, I was like, what can I do here? Because the church is so big, and like, you have to email people to tell them what you want to be a part of. And I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, but this is where I feel like I'm supposed to be. But I feel like I needed to be there to figure out what needed to be figured out for me to get to the next step of where I needed to be, if that makes sense. So I needed to be I'm just going to say it, at the Potter's house in order for me to be at my church that I go to now. Because Potter's house helped me drastically, and a lot of it was Sarah Jakes helped me drastically, because I started out just watching her. Everything that I could find on her. I didn't care how old it was. Like, that's where I started at, literally watching her. And I don't even know what made me start watching her, because it wasn't like you're like, I've always known Sarah Jakes, and that's TD Jakes' daughter. Like, I didn't know that. I be having the hiccups a lot when I talk now. I did that yesterday too, and it just comes out of the blue. But yeah, I didn't know who Sarah Jakes was or nothing like that. I don't know how she popped up. I don't know. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. But I was drawn to her, and I just started watching her. Like, I would just literally YouTube and put Sarah Jakes Roberts and just watch whatever popped up. And then it was like, the church is here. It's in Dallas. Let me start watching the church. So I started watching the church. I did the whole everything that I needed to do online to join the church. I joined the church, started going online, just going everything that they offered, I did it. Everything that they offered. And then eventually I started actually going into the house of the Lord, started going to the church. So after that, I ended up, someone passed away. The person that did his sermon led me to where I'm at now. And when I went into the doors of the church, I just went in as a visitor, because God had been telling me to go to the church while he was standing up there preaching that day. the funeral, God was telling me the eulogy. God was telling me that I needed to visit the church, and I'm looking. I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I literally didn't know the man. I didn't know anything about him. I just knew that God was saying to visit the church, or He could have been telling me this. Whatever church that man attends is the church you're supposed to go to. But my nose itching. I didn't know. So I ended up trying to figure out, oh, hey, because I didn't know him. I didn't go and have a conversation with him or any of that. But I ended up figuring out what church he went to, because I just kept asking everybody, like, who is, like, what's the name of his church? So I forgot how I found, but I do know how I found out. But that's neither here nor there. I ended up finding out, talked to him, went to the church. When he was having something, he invited everybody, and I attended it. And one of their somebody else attended, and that's how that happened. And then I ended up talking to my pastor. I think after I visited like 2 or 3 times, I'm not sure, but when he did reach out to me and we did end up talking, it was just like a lot of confirmation things were revealed, because I think by this time I had probably visited, like I said, maybe, no, it was more than 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4 times. And so I knew when he called me, it was just more confirmation. And he called, and it wasn't just like somebody just gave him my number. At this time, the pastor that did the sermon for the funeral actually called me and asked if it was okay if he gave the pastor my number, because he said he wanted to talk to me. And I was like, oh, sure, sure. I would love to talk to the pastor. Of course, I'm nervous because I've never done this before. Like, I briefly talked to the first pastor, which was my spouse cousin, and I briefly talked to him on occasions, but I've never had conversations with pastors and stuff like that. If I went to a church, I just kind of went, sat back, listened, and that was it. So he did call, and he was just talking to me and like pouring into me. And we weren't talking about anything personal, nothing like that. It was just like, and then we was talking about God, and I was telling him about where I was at in my journey, and he was just saying how I had left. And he even, I think he said something up to the sort of, the first day that I walked through the church, he didn't know who I was, but he knew I was meant to be there. And he was like, I just remember saying, I hope she comes back after this, because he didn't know anything about me. He didn't know who I was or anything like that. And I don't know if I felt it that day that I went into the church. That day, like that moment, I can't remember. But I know I just had an urge and I just needed more of that church. I needed more of the church, because my initial thought was, oh, wow, this is a small church, when I pulled up, because I didn't know anything about the church. Like, when I talked to his cousin about his church, he didn't say we're a small church. Like, he didn't give me a brief description of what to expect. He just told me where the church was at, and all of that stuff. And I don't know that area, so I just knew, okay, Dallas, because he didn't say it's in this area or nothing. He just sent, and I was like, okay, this is Dallas, all right. So I didn't know it was a small church. I didn't know if it was a mega church. I didn't know if it was I didn't know anything. I didn't know if it was Baptist, Pentecostal, non-denominational. I didn't know anything. I just knew that I needed to get to the church. God had told me to get to the church, and that's what I wanted to do. So when I walked through the doors, I was like, hey, do I need to sit anywhere? And like I'm saying, I didn't know anyone. So I'm like, is there a certain place to sit? I don't want to, to sit on no one's spot or whatever. So I sit She was like, no, sit wherever you want. I sit and I keep going and I can't stop and I can't stop. So the pastor just said that he had been praying for me for years. And I just feel like God was scoping me. He was getting me ready for him. Not him getting me ready to do God's work, not the pastor. And so God had to make my pastor wait for me, because no one could fill that position but me. Whatever it's for me to do in that church, nobody can do it but me. People could, which so much talent in my church. Like mostly everyone is not just sitting in the seats. Everyone is doing something in the church. So we have a lot of talent. But what's meant for me there is definitely meant solely for me. And it's just so much stuff that I see, and my vision is just so big. And so for the prophet to say what he said yesterday, it's like, okay, Camila, you're not tripping. It's just put on your running shoes, right? Put on your running shoes and stop walking. Yes, the heels are cute, but put on your running shoes so you can do what God wants you to do. And even if it's the unknown to you, he'll lead you as he's leading you now with everything that you need to do, right? So what was so beautiful about the moment of me talking to my pastor is he cried tears because he didn't know why I hadn't showed up. Like, and he really said it. Like, he has a vision for so many people. Like, his vision is so explosive, right? So when and I can just imagine, but he went to school for this. I tell him all the time, I'm new to this. I ain't true to this. I'm getting there. I just recently made my year. This month. But when your mind is filled with all of this stuff, this vision, God is giving you all of this stuff, right? And you're like, nothing is happening. It can be kind of discouraging unless you have faith. And that's what he was emotional about, was just, I'm praying and I'm asking you and I'm being faithful. I just want it. And God was saying, no. You might be ready for her, but she's not ready for you. And I almost feel like that's what happened with several people that have came to the church. Because when I first walked through that church doors, it was a small congregation. It was very small. And now we have expanded, where we have, like, I was looking yesterday, we went to the second church service. Our choir was standing in the choir stand, and I'm like, wow, we have a whole choir. You know, that's literally what I was thinking when I was standing up there. Like, we literally have a whole choir. And you know, and then we went to another church, and it was like we filled up one whole side. And I'm just so grateful for my church. And I'm just saying all this to say is, I'm definitely gonna put in the in this video what happened, and I'm just going to give you guys a brief dialogue of what you're seeing. It's us at church. He had us come up for prayer and line up if we felt like we was led to do that. Like I said, I was closer to the back, so I did just kind of screen record where he started with me at, and I'm that very last person hand that he's holding. He does talk to the person that was in front of me for like a couple of seconds before he moved to me, because I wanted to get all of the video with me. And he just basically, he flat out asked the pastor, can I say this? Because he had already preached in the pulpit that people are going to come in And basically what you wasn't doing, they're going to do. And so be ready for it. Be ready for it, and don't get in your feelings. And also he said don't get mad when someone something you're doing already, if someone comes in and they can do it better than you, or not even better than you, if God, that's what I'll say, because it has nothing to do with the human. If God has planted that seed into that person, if things shifts, that's okay. It's okay for them to shift, because we just want to be our best, right? And sometimes it's us stepping back and allowing someone else to lead, or maybe it's us leading, stepping forward instead of staying back and not being scared to do it. So he basically asked the pastor if he, I think he said, if he asked if he had a receptionist or a secretary. I can't remember, but thank you, God. But he let him know she needs to be close. She needs to be close, because what she has on her, what God has on her, God be the glory. I just thank you for every single thing, every struggle that I have had, I thank you for the ugly, because without the ugly, I wouldn't be so grateful for what I have now. And I just thank you for it. But he spoke what I was feeling. He spoke what not just my senior pastor has been saying, but a couple of pastors in the congregation has been saying. He spoke what my spiritual counselor had been saying. So it's just like, Camila, you keep questioning and then you keep saying and what, asking, is this what you want me to do, and give me more clarification. And God is just steady putting stuff in your face and you're still questioning. Just do it, and that's what I meant, because he literally said it like, do you have I forgot, y'all are here, but basically, do you have a recept? Like, she needs to be close, because so many things that's going to happen with the church. This woman has the key. And it's like, me? And I've never just cried in church. Like, I did tears, but kind of like I'm doing now. And that's kind of what I did, because I receive it. And I feel like I have so much that I can give, and just pour into people. And that's what I do. And sometimes it's not appreciated. Sometimes it can be taken the wrong way. So I'm very careful of who I just be very raw and real with, because it's powerful for me. And it's like something takes over, God takes over. And if he asks you to speak to people, and sometimes it's just, you just can't, because everybody's not ready to receive. Everyone is definitely not ready to receive what God has to say to them. So when you're the person that's delivering the message, they can think it's you, just like, oh, well, yeah, you just trying to say this, because, and no. And I've been told that a couple of times, like when I've said God has said XYZ, and the person has just been like, I'm just trying to make them do something that I want them to do. Hold on, y'all. Okay, but like sometimes when you try to tell certain people stuff and it's a word from God, they automatically get offended, like you're trying to make them do something that you want them to do. And that has happened to me. It hasn't happened to me a lot. It mainly just happens with, it's happened with one person, but when it's somebody that God literally started talking to me for this person in the beginning. Like God wasn't coming to me and saying anything to me about me. Like they literally started out speaking to me about this particular person. So, and I just kept it in because of the way that this person is, right? And as I'm doing YouTube, I'm becoming more, I'm sharing more with y'all. And I think it's just so people can understand and just know, Camila's, baby, my journey has been crazy. Like this is crazy because I'm telling y'all, I'm not somebody who, and I'll say this, I'm new to this, I'm not true to this. And Sarah said it when she preached one day, I'm new to this, I'm not true to this. And it resonated with me because it's like, literally, that's how I feel. I have to start using that terminology because it explains it without me having to explain it. But I don't know what I'm doing. God knows what I'm doing. But I know where he's taking me to is something huge. And I know I'm going to be talking because that's what I love to do. I love to speak. But now, in my church, I haven't just got up and said this grand speech or nothing like that or did any presentations. I know that's something that my pastor, God has showed him that I will be doing, like for mental health. He that day that we talked, he said all this stuff. I didn't tell this man anything about me. Even that first day that I went to the church and he came and put his hands on my shoulder and he literally just, he told me how hard I love. He's like, you love really hard. And I do. Baby, I love you to the end of the world, back again, flip it, turn it upside down, turn it to the left or right. I will love you hard. From my friends, family, my spouse, anybody, even co-workers. I'm so comfortable telling people I love, because I love everybody that God created, especially where I'm at now, the journey that I'm on now. I do love hard, and I tend to get hurt a lot. I do. I get hurt a lot because of the way that I choose to love, and I will not stop loving this way. Will I move away from certain people? Yes, I definitely will. But will that love stop? No. And if they open up the door and want to, if anybody that God has removed from my life at this time in my life where I'm at, if they ever reach out to me, the door is never shut and locked with a deadbolt. My door is always open to receive anything. But what I'm not going to do is chase anyone. God is not telling me to do that, so I won't do that. I'm not chasing anyone to be a part of my greatness. I'm not. If you wanted to be a part of my mess that I had when I had a mess, but you don't want to be a part of my greatness, it speaks volumes about you. And that's really all I have to say about that. But it was given to me yesterday. It was given to me months ago. I got work to do for God, and nobody's going to stand in the way of that. If you genuinely love Camila K, you are going to be here for it, period. And if you're not, you're not. And I'm totally fine with that, because I'm gonna tell you one thing. God was preparing me from birth for my journey, what was meant for me. My mama had me at, I think, 26 weeks. She had me at 26 weeks back in the 79. July the 15th, 1979 is when my mama had me, and I survived. God had something for me. He had a calling on me when my mom pushed me out of her, before I was even created in her womb. So I know what God has for me. I survived back then at 26 weeks, and I'm here I'm speaking, almost 46. So someone removing themselves from me, it serves no justice in my life, because where you are moving from, someone can be replaced. I mean, you can be replaced with someone else greater. And I'm going to be honest with you. People that have been removed from my life, and God just revealed this. All he's doing is saying, okay, this person was removed for this person to be placed in your life. Because this person is going to serve you more. This person is going to give you something that you need. Not that you want, but that you need. But everyone who has been in my life, I thank them for everything that they have done. Because any little speckle that you gave me that pushed me more towards my journey and what God had for me and my purpose, I appreciate you for that. Regardless of how ugly it is, or if you decided to drift away, or I just drifted away from you, or it was mutual, we didn't even know that's what we were doing. But everybody was literally replaced, starting to be replaced if they're not still standing. Except for a couple of people, because I'm trying to think in my head, but literally, I'm just thinking about the tears that I shedded for a couple of people, because it was so hard for me to just deal with the loss. And even if it was me putting up that wall and being like, okay, this is not healthy, even if it was that, it still was a loss for me. Because every relationship that I've had the last few years was a very significant relationship for me. It wasn't a relationship. They weren't relationships where I came to play with. They were relationships that I thought I had genuinely built with people that would be a part of my life for my time here or into their time here. So for it to shift, it hurt me drastically. But I was sitting on the phone last night talking to my mother's sister. That's what I'll start calling her. And it's crazy because she she kept saying it over and over. And I'm somebody who needs to know, I'm going to be very honest, that I'm doing something right. So me and her was talking, I think it was last week or the week before last, and she was asking about my page, and because I don't know how we got on the subject with it, because I'm not just this, oh, hey, everybody, I have a YouTube page, subscribe, or I'm not posting videos in our our WhatsApp app. We got that, and I'm not just posting in there, hey, this is my YouTube video, check me out. I'm not doing any of that. But I am led to post this video just so they can get an idea of who I am, because I talk to everyone, but everybody does not have that relationship with me. But so I don't remember how exactly yes, I do. Somebody asked me about my page and I put the link, and then she started saying she just called me and literally just asked, and I think I sent her a video. And we had talked for a few hours that day, for a while, and she was just pouring into me about what's going on with me, and very encouraging. Very encouraging. And if y'all know this lady that I'm talking about, my mama's sister, baby, she gonna give it to you raw and uncut. So if you asking her about something, you better really want a real answer. So she we talked, and then she said, okay, I'm gonna watch a video. She said she had started it and she was gonna start back, and then she just, every video I post, man, between her and my mama, they be on it. And I love her for that. I love my mom for that. And I'm just ready to do whatever it is that God wants me to do for my church. And I know I need to be closer to my pastors. I don't even know. I know administration was my number one, and he basically is crazy because he basically said that, and I'm going to insert it. Like, do you have, I think he said a receptionist. I can't remember. But he basically said it, and he said I needed to be close, and I was going to be basically a big part of the church growth. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Am I nervous? A little bit. Not as nervous as I was. But I'm here for it. And I'm just excited. And I just wanted to come on and tell you guys, don't let no one block what God has for you. Don't let God block anything that God has for you, and don't let your past define who you are. A lot of times we see men talking about their past and what they have. We see a couple of women, but women, we have to walk in our mess too. It's okay to walk in your mess. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to have a past. I say this all the time on my channel. If somebody's holding your past against you, they probably don't need to be in your life, period, point blank. Especially if you've grown and that's not you anymore. They don't need to be in your life. No one needs to be blocking that, your growth, especially if it's a spiritual growth. I don't care if you are someone who, I don't care. I don't want to name out things that are just so drastically horrible. But even if it's whatever you can think of in your head, that's the worst thing that a human can possibly do. God still forgives them. God still forgives them. God forgives you if you're that person who has done anything in your life and you're saying, I can't move forward with God. Yes, you can. He forgives you. You pray and you tell him. You drop it at his feet, whatever it was. Trust me, he forgives you. And don't you think about what man has to say. Who cares how they feel? Who cares what they're saying? You worry about your relationship that you have with God. And like I keep saying, for me, whoever is left standing at the end of this is left standing. If you're not left standing, it's because you weren't meant to be. You're not strong enough to handle what I got to offer. And that's okay. And that's for anybody. It can be anybody in your life. It can be a parent, but still give your parent that respect. But some parents can also be toxic as well. Parents can be toxic. And I never understood that. Why people don't have relationships with their mother, with their father, and they're still here on earth, until I experienced certain things and I learned certain things. Sometimes you have to remove people, even your adult children. Sometimes they have to be removed. And I'm just so blessed that I haven't had to do that. But you may have to do that. You don't want anybody in your life that's blocking what God has for you. You don't want anybody in your life that's holding something against you that you did 2 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years ago. Shoot, yesterday. You could have did something yesterday that was horrible, but today you choose to take another route. And that's between you and God, not man. So if people want to judge you and call you out for it and tell you you're not a woman of God, or even if you're a man, you're not a man of God, you rebuke that spirit and move on. You get it out of your life because it's no need for it to be there. God didn't place it there. God is not going to put anyone in your life that's stopping you from having a relationship with him. So if that is happening, it's not of God. Anybody who stands in between your relationship that you have with God is not meant to be there. Not meant to be there. And like I told y'all, because I got my gown on, my button on, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm just still in the bed, but God led me. And he said something about that too. Y'all know I do a lot of middle of the night videos because I'm up. And that's what he said, that the calling is on me so strong. I don't sleep, and I don't sleep. I'm up. I don't really sleep. But please, y'all, don't be afraid of your journey that God has for you. And don't let anybody tell you that what you did yesterday defines where you're at today, because it definitely does not. It doesn't define where you're at. And even if you slide off and you do things that you should not be doing as you're building your relationship with God, it's okay. That's between you and God. Stop letting men tell you what you're wrong for. Like, we can't do that. I can't do that. A pastor can't do that. A bishop cannot do that. They're not our God. I don't care how high they is on the pyramid of God's study. None of them can judge you either. And if you're at a church where you feel like you're being judged, I'm not telling you to leave your church, but sometimes we may have to ask our pastor about his way, like his teaching style, like, but if it's not for you, move somewhere else. Pray and ask God to lead you where you need to be. And it might be somewhere way drastically different than where you ever expected to go. But whoever this message is for, and you may have to watch it a couple of times. That's what I do. I have to watch things a couple of times just to get everything out of it and get clear, and have it clarified, and just so I can understand it clearly. Even what the prophet spoke yesterday, I had to call my sister mama to get clarification on what he was saying, because he asked me questions and it was almost like, what else do I do? Nothing. Because I noticed that I'm somebody who, I don't acknowledge the things that I do as great things. So this right here to me is just me talking to the people. I know God wants me to do it. But when he asked me, was I doing it, I was like, no, because I really don't do it at the church. So I had to call her just to get clarified. I was like, I don't know. So when I called her, she said, yes, and you do it well. And so I'm like, okay, so keep doing that. And now I'm on Facebook as well, y'all. I'm also on Facebook, and I'm going to have to put that in my description. And I'm going to jump off now. I don't even know what time it is, but I'm definitely going to jump off. And I love each and every one of you. And whomever I'm talking to who is struggling with their journey, because I know I have someone who is watching me, and I feel it. You don't like anything. You don't comment. You may not have even subscribed to my channel. But me and you have a relationship. And whomever you are, I'm here. I'm a message away in those comments. And whatever you need to say to get my attention, I'm here. If you're struggling with building your relationship with God and you don't know where to go and how it needs to look, I'm here. If you have a relationship with God, but you just don't know what